everyone, it's Mary Brownlee, licensed professional counselor and trauma therapist. Today we're going to talk about reducing anxiety and specifically using the IFS model. If you haven't heard of IFS, it is a wonderful model that is really useful for working with clients with lots of trauma, but it's also useful for people without a lot of trauma, because what it essentially is going to help you do today is learn about a specific part. In this case, we're working with anxiety, and it's going to teach you how to get to know the part, to kind of learn about the history and origin of how your anxiety part got there. You're going to begin to befriend your part and get to know it and form a relationship with it. And ultimately, what you'll find is hopefully some really good insights into why your anxiety part started in the first place, what can help it feel better, and beginning to really form a friendship with it so that you can work with this anxiety feeling and part in the future, should it cause some more problems and distress in the future. So I will go over in brief a little bit about what anxiety looks like, and then we'll begin the befriending process of getting to know the part. In IFS, we call this the 6 Fs. So we'll be doing that step by step. I'll lead you through it, and I'll have one additional question at the end that I like to ask all of my clients that helps their parts really form a more solid relationship built on trust and openness with them. So if you are unfamiliar with IFS, I will link a number of videos below that I already have made on this wonderful model that will go into it in a lot more detail should you really be interested in this model. But today we're going to just focus on anxiety alone. So please join me. If you find this video helpful, please leave a like. Feel free to comment any of your questions or anything else you might think of related to anxiety below. And please, if you enjoy this as well, your subscribing and positive support means so much to me. And without further ado, let's get started. Some helpful tips as we do this process. If you are somebody that likes to just process the questions and just intuitively whatever comes to mind, you just work with whatever comes to mind, that's great. If you're somebody who would actually like to use like a paper and pencil to write down any answers that come to you, feel free to do that. If you want to pause the video at different parts and really let some of the questions sink in and go over them in a more slow fashion, feel free to do that as well. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable and do what works for you during this step-by-step process, because I really want this to be useful for you. So feel free to work with whatever your unique system likes to do when you're kind of doing this type of self-inquiry. All right? Symptoms of anxiety can include uncontrolled worry that is highly distressing, worry that begins to impact daily functioning, such as school or work or social relationships. It's worrying about all sorts of things all of the time. It's feelings of restlessness, feelings of being on edge, irritability, fatigue, not sleeping well, chronic muscle tension. Concentration is difficult, and again, having trouble falling and or staying asleep. So in IFS, you will learn that there are 2 different types of parts. There are firefighter parts and manager parts. Both of these are protectors, and both attempt to keep the system stable by doing various roles or jobs. And so today we're going to talk about a manager part, specifically anxiety. If you would like to explore more parts with IFS, again, I'll have those videos linked below, and you can check them out for a much more comprehensive view on IFS. All right, so essentially, manager parts help manage our everyday lives. They're very proactive. They're concerned with what will happen next. They want us to be prepared in case bad things happen. And if we have healthy managers, it equals a healthy, balanced us. The overall basic goal in IFS is getting to know our parts, essentially becoming their friend. A lot of the time, what we find when we're exploring these parts is there is absolutely no relationship between who we really are, or what we call self, and the actual part. So, if you don't have a relationship, it's hard for us to manage our own distress and to know ourselves really well. So, IFS is really helpful for building like emotion regulation and distress tolerance and emotional intelligence too. Knowing yourself deeply really helps you to be able to self soothe adequately and really be compassionate towards yourself. So, in essence, we're attempting to get to know each part, which will help them calm down. It helps them communicate better with us, and it allows our authentic self to lead because we really don't want parts leading, right? If anxiety is leading all the time, then we're really feeling distressed. But if our authentic self, our wise mind, so to speak, is leading the bus, then we know we're going to get to our destination safely and we'll likely be a lot less distressed. So when things are out of balance, that's really when we begin to feel the symptoms of distress, such as anxiety or depression or any other number of distressing symptoms. The first step to getting to know any part, whether it's anxiety or people pleasing or depression or any other number of protectors, are the 6 F's. And that is really where we're going to be finding the part. We're going to begin to focus on it and get to know it. We're going to see how we feel towards it. We're going to befriend it. And then lastly, we're going to discover some of its hidden fears. So these 6 F's are exactly what I'm going to lead you through step by step right now. So feel free to grab that pencil and paper or get yourself in a comfortable position where you can relax and kind of be in a meditative state and let the answers come to you. First, let's begin to build awareness of anxiety and get to know it a little bit better. Feel free to pause at any time if you would like to take your time with this exercise. I want you to begin to turn your attention inward. What do you notice? Do you feel anxiety anywhere inside of your body? Are there any body sensations that you are becoming aware of? Are there any areas in the body specifically that show up when you feel anxious? What emotions show up as you begin to tune in? What thoughts come in to your awareness as you do this tuning in? Just notice. Now, let's begin to focus and pay attention to the part. We're going to just let whatever comes up just be. No judgment, no harshness, just curiosity. Direct your attention gently to whatever is coming up. Use compassion and a sense of curiosity to be present with the part. Can it feel your energy? Let's begin to flesh the part out a little bit. We're going to try and discover how the part would like to be known by you. Does anxiety have an image? Does anxiety make any sounds? Is anxiety trying to tell you anything right now? Do you get an approximate age that anxiety might be? How long has it been there? Does your anxious part have any memories it would like to share with you? Sometimes the part may only show up as body sensations, and that's okay too. Now, we're going to begin to see how you feel towards anxiety. And we'll also check in and see how anxiety feels towards you. I want you to ask yourself, how do I feel towards my anxious part? Notice any of your reactions to this part. Do you feel open, curious, compassionate, maybe even a little sadness related to how much this part has suffered? If so, that's wonderful. That's a sign that self-energy is present. However, maybe you feel something different. Do you feel anger at the part? Impatience? A sense of dislike? Maybe you want anxiety to just go away already. If so, that means a different part is actually coming to the foreground. Self-energy is always open and compassionate. So if it's not something that feels like self-energy, this probably means you have what I call a blocking part that's kind of stepped in and is like, nope, this part is not allowed to speak right now. You need to pay attention to me. And if that's the case, just go back to step 1 and begin to get to know this blocking part and see what it needs as well. However, if you have felt a sense of self-energy towards the part, let's continue. You may be wondering, I don't know much about self-energy. Can you please tell me a little bit more about what I should be feeling? And so this slide really is going to teach you about the 8 C's of self-energy. And you'll know you're in self when you feel things like calmness, you feel a sense of connection, you're able to feel compassion, creativity is self-energy, clarity, being able to see things clearly basically without any major judgment or black and white thinking. Self doesn't judge. A sense of curiosity, confidence, and courage. So that gives you an idea of what self-energy feels like and how you'll know when you're in self. Let's begin to befriend anxiety. For much of our lives, we have been at odds with our protectors. A lot of the times we are upset with them. They feel abandoned by us. They're not known by us or self. And so they're in there inside of us just doing the best job that they can to try to keep us safe and to try to keep our system running smoothly. So it's so important that we begin to build a relationship with them so that they will talk with us and let us know what they need. And we're able to self-soothe much easier and more rapidly than we could before. All right. So if self-energy was present in the prior question, you can continue to get to know your new friend anxiety. I want you to ask anxiety, how did it get its job or the role that it's been doing? What role does anxiety play for your system? Does anxiety like its job or role? Or is it really stressed out? Is it exhausted? Would it like to do the job differently? How would it like to do the job differently if it could? Is it tired and worn out? How old is anxiety? Is it a young child? A young version of you? Maybe it's a bit older, a preteen, a college student. It usually depends on when anxiety first joined your system. Is anxiety aware of you? How does anxiety feel towards you? Now, this question is a real important question. I want you to ask anxiety, what is anxiety scared of if it stopped doing its job? What is it afraid of if it no longer holds anxiety for you? This answer is key for us helping anxiety learn to do its job in a different way and for us to be able to help it effectively. Now we are able to ask it one additional important question that will give you clues on how to help your anxious part. I want you to ask anxiety, what can I do to help you feel safer inside of me? Can I do anything that will help you feel better? Just notice what comes up as you ask anxiety this question. Does it need anything from you? What could you do differently to help this little anxious part? Notice any feelings that come up for you as you ask these questions. Because we are building new friendships and relationships with anxiety that were not there before, it's really important that we also begin to express appreciation and nurture this part with our love and our gratitude. Just like any good relationship, it's made up of reciprocity and a give and a take and being mindful of the other part's needs and feelings. I want you to express appreciation to anxiety for all of its hard work. No doubt it's been very exhausted. It's probably felt alone inside of you, and it probably has never had anyone express appreciation for anything that it's done. I want you to notice how anxiety feels and responds as you express appreciation and kindness towards this part. I want you to let anxiety know that you'll be back and you can talk to it at any time if it needs you. And I want you to ask it to give you a sign so that whenever it needs you, you can become aware of it and go ahead and reassure it that you will listen and be there for it. And maybe anxiety tells you when your shoulders get really tight, you'll know you need to tune in and ask me if I need anything. Or maybe when your belly gets kind of queasy feeling, or your heart starts to beat a little faster, in whatever unique way your system feels anxiety. I want you to ask your little part its unique sign that it needs you. And as soon as it does so, I want you to warmly thank it. You can express any sort of affection if it feels natural to do so. Just notice how the part feels during this process and how you feel as well. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and gently stretch and come back to your awareness of the present moment. I hope this activity was helpful for you. If you would like more content like this, exploring parts with IFS, please do subscribe and like the video. Leave comments below on anything else that you would find helpful or your experiences with this exercise. And I so appreciate every single one of you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, everyone.